the spot.
That's right.
I think it's the first one. I think it's a monthly maintenance fee.
What is this one?
$155 a month. Is that right?
Yeah.
That's what the,
Well,
that's
or there's
the,
an MRR and an NRR, which I don't know what those mean. Y'all know. You check my books. Is it this one?
I believe so.
$155 a month, but then we have a service agreement that would also include, be included to the packet, which is apologize. Which would be another $1,100 for the service fee. For any services that we need on the wiring, the phones, that would be included in with that.
And it's a 5-year lease. We're not buying anything. It says term of the agreement 60 months.
Right.
We're leasing equipment.
Right, we're purchasing the phones, but we have the agreement on the service agreement,
Stays
which
the
is service
same.
for 5
5
years.
years.
The service agreement's for 5 years. And at the end of 5 years, I don't know if we need more different equipment or what it'd be, but we'd evaluate it then to make sure that we stay up with it, so we don't have to get into another Herald situation where we just do what we've always done.
How secure will this phone system be if we get into one of these, hopefully don't ever, but bad situations? Can somebody knock out our phone system?
We still have to have copper wiring, so not the classroom lines will all be internet. But then to the offices, we still have the hybrid where we have copper wiring coming in and also the IP capability. So we still have both capabilities from the office standpoint.
Yeah, so redundancy-wise, David, we made a decision 2 years ago when we did the phones, the initial, I think it was 2 years ago, to not go with a straight IP phone for that reason, that if we were to get spliced somewhere, either here or in Dallas that feeds this area, that we wouldn't go down. We'd still have copper connections. So the same thing would happen. You'd have to hit the copper and the fiber in order to go completely down.
So we'd lose the classrooms in that scenario, but
That's
we wouldn't
exactly right.
lose the campus.
That's correct. That is correct.
Question, on the MRR and the NRR,
Mhm.
that $700 fee, is that a one time? Like you were talking about 155.10 going up, what is that 700?
They have to be able to, they have to put in place the switch over to handle all those lines.
Oh, okay, but that's a one shot.
Mhm.
Okay.
They have to put the brains in, so to speak, to be able to handle the workload that we want to handle.
But the 155 is like your interior wiring coverage at your home, let's say. Would that be a fair
I think so.
analogy? Okay.
Yeah, we'll get all that broken down for sure.
Okay, yeah. I
We
just
just
like
want to
it.
introduce it to y'all tonight.
any other questions? Okay, thank you, Mr. Muller. (2018) property tax values. Mr. Frazier, that's me.
All right. Thanks for not stealing my notes here, Scott. So I left them up here. All right, normally in April of each year, we receive the preliminary property tax values. Most of our property is located in Coryell County. We have a little bit in Bell County as well. So we take the combination of both and come up with what we call our preliminary values. And on page 157 of your board book, there's a histogram showing you all the way back to 2011 how these rates have changed year to year. Normally the two numbers that are published by the newspaper are the certified property net taxable values, which is on line 4. I'm sorry, line 3, 805,889,541, and that's an $8 million increase over the prior year, or 1%. So the property values overall have not gone up very much at all for our school district. The other number that's typically published in the newspaper is the total freeze adjusted taxable. And that number is on line 8, which is $683,959,645, which is an increase of nearly $5.5 million. And then on the reverse page, we give you kind of an estimate as to how this is going to impact the tax levy. And we have the total levy being impacted by an increase of around $129,000. So it's fairly minimal, 1.46% increase. And then we have it split out between the M&O and the INS on the two next sections there on lines 26, or 25 and 28. So it's a fairly minimal increase in the property values, but as you well know, our funding pretty much is dictated by TEA, and with all these formulas based on the student enrollment that we have and the services that we provide as a school district to those students. And there's all kinds of weighted factors that are figured into what they consider be, this is what you should be able to operate your school district on. And then they take that number and they subtract out the local taxes, and then that's the difference, is what they provide to us. That's called state aid. So as our tax property values adjust, they just automatically adjust the state's portion. You don't really get anything else. That's the trick behind this.
So we're not going to get any more money, is what you're saying.
Right. Okay. But officially, I have to present these to you. Now, these will be certified in late July by the appraisal office. And they probably will come in a little higher because he typically, Mitch Fast, typically keeps these preliminary figures kind of conservative. And so you'll probably expect a little increase on the certified values that will come in late July.
So Daryl, in layman's terms, if we have a property increase of even 1%, where does that 1% go?
On the property tax,
Who gets that?
who gets that? State.
There you go. What do they do? What do they do with that 1% that they were
They
giving
just
us?
reduce them out there, providing our school district.
Ah, okay.
Travel expenses.
Just wanted to
You
make
don't
sure.
need as much money from us.
Just wanted to make sure everybody heard that.
Because you're getting it from local.
Thank you.
So that's the tricky part.
Yep.
Any questions on this? This is just for your information only, so there's no action necessary from the board.
Okay. Daryl, you might as well just stay up there.
Yeah, it's Daryl Show.
Okay. Insurance premiums next, I
Insurance,
believe?
yes.
Okay. So typically in June, we receive our insurance premium renewals for the group health insurance for our staff. And this year it came out a little bit early, so we've already received them. And so we wanted to go ahead and share that with you at this May board meeting. Typically we share that with you at the June board meeting. So we're looking at it. So on page 160, which is kind of a synopsis of the presentation, you see there that the monthly increases per individual range from 16 to 190, and the percentage increase from 2.2 to 9.5. The overall increase in terms of the total group is about a 4.4% increase and 110,458 premium increase total for the school district. So overall, the health care costs us about $2.6 million as a school district, and that's shared about half and half between what the employees pay and our portion. As it turns out, the least affordable plan that we offer our employees is now called the HU, that's on page 161. Active Care 1, which is also called HD1, stands for High Deductible Plan. You've heard about these high deductible plans, and that's kind of where things are headed because of the increasing cost of health care, and it's been increasing all my lifetime, and it's not going to stop. It's just going to happen every year. I think the 4.4% increase actually is pretty moderate. So, I'm pretty happy that it wasn't any more than that, because we've had some really high increases in years past. But if you take a look on page 161 at the Active Care 1 premiums, you'll see that those premiums for an employee only went from $341 back in 2015-16 to next year's rate will be $367. So that is the least affordable healthcare plan that we offer to our employees. The amount that we subsidize per employee is currently $361, and management is proposing that the board approves increasing that amount $6 a month to $367 to match the least affordable healthcare plan for employee-only coverage. So that's the logic behind that. That total would be about $22,000 cost to the district. You can see at the very bottom right, the total group annual increases. You can see them by year. 16-17 was a $90,000 increase, 4%. Last year was a 5% increase, and next year will be a 4.4% increase. So you also can see on this chart, and I've highlighted and shaded in green, under Active Care HD1, for 2017-18, the enrollment is 16%. That enrollment last year was 11%, and enrollment in the year prior to that was 7%. So what you're seeing is a gradual increase in the participation of our group in this high deductible plan. That's just the nature of the beast. That's what's happening to us. Most of the participants are in one of the HMOs, the Scott and White, or the First Care. We personally have nothing as a district to do with these rates. These rates are dictated statewide by TRS. They negotiate these rates and they give us these rates and say, this is what it is. So, you know, at some point it's possible that we might go, you know, that was a statement that had actually been discussing taking off some of these active care plans and not providing those plans. That was under serious discussion in the last legislature. And if that should come about, then we may be in a situation where we might recommend going out for bids for just our group only to see what we can get on the market. But we're not at that point. We're not at that place right now. Yes, sir?
We have to buy or provide the insurance through TRS at this time, or can we go out
It's
on
the
our
best
own?
option. It's the best option.
You had a chance to opt out, but right now there is no chance to opt out.
That's it.
Reason I ask is when Garlene taught here, it costs several $100s a month, $600 or $700 a month for her to add me to her policy.
Mm-hmm.
And when I went to work out here where they had health insurance, I took my own as $45 a week for basically the same policy that she was paying all this money for. $44 and some change a week.
Well, that has to do with the plan that you had at your employer. You know,
Right.
you can't probably compare apples and apples, and I'm not sure what your employer had negotiated
Yeah,
or what company they had gotten, so it's very difficult. unless you
I
know
was
all
just,
the ins and
I was just
outs.
wondering. I mean, it's not. I don't guess there is such a thing as good health care anymore, or health care insurance.
Mhm.
But everything's got a tremendously high deductible and out of pocket and everything else. And my plan is big also, but you know, $44 a week.
It's frustrating.
So, you know, we've broken these numbers down so you can see, you know, how many employees we have in each of these different groups, taking employee-only coverage or employee and spouse, employee child, and whether they're on Scott and White or First Care or one of these active cares. So this gives you a pretty good synopsis of the entire group. And we have overall over a little 300 participants in our plan.
There's two different Scott and White insurances now also, so be careful on that deal because there is a Baylor Scott and White and there's a Scott and White health plan. One of them is apparently considerably better than the other.
This is the better one.
Huh?
I said, I'm sure this is the better one.
The one that the state has is Baylor Scott and White, and
Yeah,
it doesn't cover near what the other one did.
We're the only public entity as teachers from the teaching profession that don't have 100% health care. Any other public servant has 100% health care. We do not. I'll leave it there. Yeah.
So our recommendation for board action tonight is that we increase the subsidy per employee from $361 to $367, which is a $6 a month increase. That'll be starting next fiscal year.
Any more questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
Just, can you remind me if an employee chooses not to take the insurance, how does that work? Do they still see that, or they won't?
No.
And it's only for the 300 that are covered.
Okay. So if they choose not to take the insurance, they don't,
They
that
do
money is
not
not
get-
incorporated into their
That's
paycheck?
They did not get
That
contribution.
was the case
Never
at
has
one
been.
time.
Here at our district.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
It was at one
It used
time.
to be
It was
that way.
one time.
Well,
It used to be that way.
150.
Oh, you meant
Yeah.
one time?
Yeah, it wasn't the
annuity.
full chunk, but
Yeah,
It was like an annuity or something.
it was
yeah,
an annuity.
yeah, it did occur.
Must have been a long time
It
ago.
was a while back.
Mhm.
And then they pulled it.
Showing my age.
Before my time.
Okay, any other questions? I guess we have to make a motion. Do we have a motion to increase what we contribute by $6 a month per employee?
It's $16, isn't it?
$6 a month.
351 to 367?
No, it was 361 to 367.
361 and 360.
It does look like a 5, doesn't
It's
it?
351 to 367.
361.
It's $16.
I think it's misread. Because you look at the bottom.
No.
You get them old man eyes,
Yeah,
you blow it
it's
up.
Right here, right here,
No,
right here.
you're right, Rob.
You're right, yeah.
So look at the bottom one, the gold.
Oh, it's on the
That's
very
the
bottom.
total.
I was looking up here at
I
the
was too, yeah.
Mhm.
That's
Active
where I
Care
was at.
1.
Right.
Okay, I'm sorry, my mistake.
No, no, it's actually ours. You were right, it is.
It's a misprint.
It's a
up there.
misprint up top.
Up here,
Yeah.
where it's highlighted.
Yeah.
So which rate are we talking about the bottom rate?
Yeah, it's 361.
It's
Okay.
361.
$6, and we have a motion?
David made the motion. Got a
Or
second?
a second?
Rob seconds. Any other discussion? All in favor? Raise your hand. Any opposed? All right. Darrell, just stay there.
Okay.
Cafeteria meal prices.
Okay. So this is an action item, and we're proposing a 5-cent increase across the board on lunch. You know, each year we have to complete this calculation at the Texas Department of Ag, and it's actually ruled by the U.S. Department of Ag. Forces you to come up with a calculation of your meal rates. And the fact is that our meal rates are a lot cheaper, the paid prices that we charge are a lot cheaper than what we get reimbursed from the feds. And so that discrepancy is one of the concerns, obviously, that eventually they want a little bit more equality in those rates. So we are pretty much bound to increase rates a little bit each year to stay in compliance with the feds regulation. And on page 167, you have a histogram of the breakfast and lunch rates going all the way back to 2004, 2005. And I've highlighted in green each time that a rate was increased. So you can see in the last 5 years or so that we have been doing a little bit more increasing, and it's because of the pressure that we're getting from the federal government. We also did a study last year, which starts on page 168, of how our meal prices compare to other meal prices in similar districts in our area. And what we discovered was that our breakfast prices were on the high side and our lunch prices were on the low side. So based on that, we chose to freeze our breakfast prices until such time as that it catches up, and to make moderate increases to our lunch prices. So you'll see, for instance, on page 168, that this current year, GISD breakfast is $1.60 at the elementary and the secondary, and the middle of the pack is about $1.50. So at some point, probably the next couple of years, these other guys are going to be raising their prices because they have to raise prices too, like we do. And so at that point, I think we'll be pretty much in line with the midpoint. On the lunch prices, you can see on page 169 that we're toward the bottom third of the school districts in our area, and we're within a nickel really of the midpoint, being $2.50. So this nickel increase that we're proposing tonight to the lunch prices for 2018, 2019, basically will be putting us in the midpoint for lunch prices. It won't generate that much money, maybe about $4,000 total, but satisfies our federal requirements. So we're proposing that we increase lunch prices across the board. It's elementary, secondary, and adult, 5 cents a meal for next year.
Okay.
Any questions?
Any questions? Anybody want to make a motion to raise
so
5
moved.
cents? Mary Ann, second. All right. Any other discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? All right. Thank you, Darrell.
Auditing firm?
Yes, sir.
All right, it's time for us to be preparing for the next audit again. Seems like we just finished one. But the older I get, the quicker they come around. So, last year we went out and solicited like RFQs for architects. We did the same for CPA firms. And the firm that was chosen had the highest score of 92 out of 100. And that was Lott and Company, which was the same firm that had been doing our auditing for about 6-7 years, somewhere in that range. The intent was for the board and whichever firm was selected, to enter into a 5-year relationship. And this may be something that we bring up every 5 years as a board, to go out and solicit RFQs from auditing firms. So it's not something you'd want to do every year. So this will be year 2 coming up, and the audit is for the year ended August 31, 2018, and the fee will remain at $22,000, which is the current fee. So we're proposing that the board approves the engagement of Lott Vernon Company to conduct our annual financial audit for the fiscal year ended August 31, 2018. So we'll need a motion. Any questions?
Is that the same cost as we had this previous year?
It is.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Are we in a 5-year?
At one time, we
This will be
were
year
at a,
2.
But we are in a 5-year.
That was kind of the board's
Yeah.
intent, yes.
I don't think there's anything binding, though, is
Yeah,
that correct?
we're not obligated to 5 years.
Because they actually had, we requested that they provide us their fee structure over a 5-year period. And that was kind of the intent, was to maintain a relationship with the auditors, unless, they're not doing a good job or something goes wrong, we always have the option to select someone else.
We can put it out there again. Yeah.
this will be the second year with this firm.
No, we've
No,
been,
they've been doing
Second
it.
year of this new, since we
We
went out.
were at a workshop one time, and I think it was at the deal in San Antonio, where they recommended that you don't use the same firm over and over and over
yeah,
and
that's
over.
what drove the RFQ 2 years ago, whenever we went up for the RFQ. How many people did we get
Last
back?
year.
3.
Daryl?
We have 3?
We had 3
I think you said
returns.
There wasn't very many.
Yeah, so that was one of the reasons we went out for an
Yeah,
RFQ.
we
That's
gave
what
you the
board
scores here.
decided.
Yeah, the other 2 scored pretty low, didn't they?
50 and 60.
Comparatively speaking.
Let's see.
Right.
Okay, nice.
But I agree with you. I think it needs to go out, and I was on the same page as the board last year when they said, go up for an RFQ.
So there was quite a bit of discussion in the board meeting about that, and I think the 5 years, what the board at that time felt comfortable with.
Any other questions? Do we have a motion to lock in with them for another year? Lott, Vernon, and Company? Michelle, a second? Mary Ann? Any other discussion? All in favor? Raise your hand. Any opposed? Board Budget and Tax Rate Workshop.
Okay, so we have 2 meetings. This first one will be a budget workshop meeting where we present you, the board, the preliminary budget for 2018-2019. And the date that we're proposing to do that falls on the same day as the August regular board meeting, which is Monday, August 20. And we propose having this budget workshop an hour prior to the regular meeting. We would have this as a 5:30 meeting.
Any questions?
So does that date sound okay to you guys?
It's a long way away. I don't know.
It'll be here before you know it.
Gets quicker and quicker, doesn't
I
it?
got to already start thinking about when to put the announcements in the paper. We have certain requirements in terms of how much in advance these notices get published publicly.
And that allows enough time to have the workshop, and then we come back August 31st, if that doesn't hit on a bad day, and we actually vote on the budget,
Yeah,
correct?
the next meeting would be the August 30, which is the final meeting where the board actually approves the tax rate and the budget, those two things.
Mr. Frazier, can you, maybe in the June meeting, give us an update on the budget process and kind of where we're at so we can start getting everybody these.
On the budget process?
Mhm.
All the campuses have turned in their budgets.
No, in June, actually as a in June, in June.
In June?
June, yes. Yeah.
At the June meeting.
At the June
Oh,
meeting.
okay, I'm sorry, I thought you wanted an update right now.
No.
Oh, okay, at the June meeting?
Yeah.
We'll let you work up a presentation. You don't have to do it on the
I
spot.
got it on the fly right here.
I can't wait. No. June, Daryl. We started at 4:30 today, my friend.
Yes, we'll do that.
Okay, thank
We'll
you.
do that at the June meeting.
Is that okay, the board, just so y'all can have some soft numbers?
Okay, do we want to make August 20th the date? You guys okay with that? We have to make a motion.
Took that motion.
David? Second. Second from John. Any other discussion? All in favor for August 20th, raise your hand. Any opposed?
Now, you do not want to miss this one. This is your favorite meeting. Budget workshop.
Call for a public meeting to discuss and adopt the 18-19 budget and tax rate.
All right, so this then follows that budget workshop. Once you approve the budget at that budget workshop, then we put the final budget together. And we also publish an announcement in the local paper, which will be in the Saturday, August 18 edition. Give you a little warning there. And,
Don't charge us twice, Don.
there's some, kind of formality. You've probably seen it before, how it looks in the paper. And gives you the different rates and the impact on a house of 100,000 and various other things. So that goes into that August 18, and then there has to be at least 10 days between the August 18 and the date that you approve it on August 30. So that's why it's kind of spaced out the same way. And these have to be approved pretty much by the end of August, before the start of the fiscal year, which is September 1. So it's at that meeting that you'll also approve the tax rates and the budget. And so this is a public hearing, and our time is, the time that we're recommending is to do it on that Thursday, August 30, 2018. And I don't have a time. Usually I think that's probably
We normally do the 6:30.
6:30-ish, 6:30 that evening.
Okay. We have a motion to make August 30th the date.
So moved.
John? Second. Any other discussion? All in favor? Any opposed?
I
You're
think
getting
the
everything
board
you
gets
want
extra
tonight.
pay for all these extra meetings and others.
You're getting everything you want tonight.
Everything I charge you money, you should be able to.
Careful.
A lot of meetings.
I don't want my taxes going up.
There you go.
Bids for
I think that's the last
surplus.
one for me, right?
You're done.
You're done.
Thank you, guys.
You did great.
I didn't get an ovation. We'll let it go.
We had the bids for surplus items that were opened up on May 3rd, 3 o'clock. We had a separate bid tabulation from spreadsheets which is attached for each department. These are the old Kate career and technology equipment, the welding equipment and such, and then the athletic equipment. And make a recommendation that we award these items to the highest bidder and remove the items from our inventory. The money generated will be returned back to the general budget. The unsold items should be sold to the public at a minimum bid price, first come, first serve. If you have the money, you take it on an as-is basis. And the impact on the budget was $7,403.
Should go over the athletic one as well.
Yeah, I combined them both. You want them separated out?
Oh, okay, that's fine. That's fine.
I realized I got started at 4:30. So
We appreciate that. Okay, do we have a motion to sell the items that went out? Cheyenne makes the motion. Second, Rob. Discussion, Dave, you got?
Do I need to restrain from voting?
Actually, yes, I think you should stay.
Oh, did you buy something?
Well, I
He bid on
bought it,
everything.
but
Okay.
I got outbid, but I didn't buy.
He did win a few things. A three-phase welder, which I don't know why,
Just to get it off your hands.
but thank you, sir.
Trot line weight.
That's exactly what it is.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Any opposed? We have one abstain. So, good there. Thanks,
Still
Scott.
lots of weights that if anyone wants to,
David?
Weights for sale?
weights
Yes.
for sale.
Yeah, all
How you gonna sell them?
By the pound, buddy. Well,
So you should,
But they're specified right there.
I thought they were
On
getting
a couple
sold.
pages. No,
No, there's a lot of weight equipment that
Y'all
didn't.
should tell these
There you
people,
go. Oh, that's not so.
people that bid, y'all should tell them.
Oh, yeah, we will,
Okay.
we will. Oh, she had a question. Okay.
Executive session? Okay, we'll take a 10-minute recess.